morning. Welcome to the Gemmological Commission meeting. We had some technical difficulties, clearly, so we do it in an alternative way, this meeting. Welcome to everybody. We had previously a Gemmological Commission steering committee, and we looked at many of the things that are on the agenda today. We had a roll call during that steering committee meeting. I think nothing has changed except that Aurélien is maybe present now. Yes, you arrived later. So that is recorded. And then we can go to the next point on the agenda, and that is the review and approval of the virtual Gemmological Commission meeting minutes. Well, we looked at that earlier, and as I have no projection of that, I can read it for you, unless you trust what we already have done during the steering committee meeting, and that is that we approved during that meeting these minutes. There were no comments, there were no amendments. So if you are fine with that, if you have no objection, we can just take that and approve those minutes. Is there any objection? Is there anybody who likes me to read those minutes? No objections. Thank you very much. Then we can approve those minutes. Then we have the next point on the agenda, and that's the considerations of gemmological book amendments. And we talked during the steering committee on an addition of Chapter 7 to the Gemmological Laboratory book. And this addition is on gem materials. It gives a list and definitions. Yes, but hang on. Yeah, so we discussed this. I will show you, I will give you a brief overview of this document in a minute, but we discussed this during the steering committee meeting, but we also discussed this over the year, and we had a special committee on varietal names looking at this document, and we discussed it. We made many amendments. We added new entries to this document, and this committee on varietal names consisted of a few people, Jean-Pierre Chalin and Michael Jemnicki of the SSEF Gemmological Laboratory. We had Shane McClure and Sudarat from GIA. We had Claudio Milisenda and Thomas Lind of the German Gem Lab, and Ken Scarrett, and myself, and of course also Roland Neftool played an important part in creating this document. And now we think this is really a version we can just offer to the CIBJO board for consideration to really incorporate it in the Gemmological Laboratory book. Well, after some discussion during the steering committee, I think there was no objection to bring this document for approval to the CIBJO board. So let me first give you a kind of overview of this document. maybe the people can show that document. Yes? Yes, thank you. The document starts with giving kind of general term definitions of general terms. So it gives a definition of what a gemstone is, and then what a mineral is. And then because gemstones can be minerals, but also natural glasses, for instance, rocks, organic and bioorganic gem materials. Yes, Claudio, you would like to say something?
Yeah, I want to draw your attention on this very first page. Yesterday, there was a question in the diamond session regarding the nomenclature of lab-grown diamonds. Can we call a laboratory-grown diamond a diamond? Well, if you look at these definitions here, you see that gemstones include minerals, natural classes, and so on and so forth. And example for minerals are aquamarine, diamond, emerald, garnet, and so on and so forth. So I think we all agree that a diamond is a mineral. Now we're coming to the definition of the mineral. And the mineral, and this is not our definition, this is a definition of it's a scientific definition of the International Mineralogical Association. And it says there that a mineral is an element or a chemical compound which is formed by geological processes. So it is a natural grown material. So as a result, a synthetic diamond is neither a mineral nor is it a diamond. It's an artificial product, according to this classification. I think it's quite clear. Thank you.
Okay, so then we define what a mineral is, and of course we have the International Mineralogical Association, which gives very strict guidelines for what we can call a mineral, and they have strict procedures to get new minerals accepted. The thing is, they do not have these procedures for variety names. So we try to define that in this document. So we define what a mineral is, what a natural glass is, a rock, organic and bioorganic materials. And then we start with the definitions of gemstones. And, Yeah, so what we do actually, it's kind of a challenge to do this here. So we give a list, and we have altogether 278 entries here of different names. We list these names in an alphabetical order, and we state what the name is. So, for instance, an actinolite is actually belongs to the mineral group of amphiboles, and it is actually a mineral species, and it has an IMA status. Then we give a short description, and then we continue with the next name. So you will see in this document that some names are really very described in detail, and other minerals or varieties have shorter descriptions and minimal descriptions, if you like. So this is agate, for instance. Agate belongs to the mineral species quartz, but we can consider this as a gem variety, and then we give a description. So this list is really to help with looking at names you're maybe not familiar with, and you can see here whether it is just a mineral or a gem variety name or a trade name, for instance. At last, yesterday we talked about Fei Chui, for instance, and we have designated that as a trade name in this document. So I can just scroll bit further, you have so you see andradite, for instance, is a garnet. It's a mineral species. But demantoid, for instance, is also in the list. That's a gem variety of andradite. So that is what the document is like. Well, this is really a baseline, I think. And yeah, before we go further, Emmanuel has a question.
Thank you very much, Hanco. If I go to the Blue Book and look at the Annex C, we have already listed all these, maybe not all, but some of these gems. Actually, I can see that the presentation is not exactly the same as agate, for example, is under quartz. So we presented the mineral first and then the name of the gems. You decide to display everything by name, which most probably will make a huge, I don't know how many pages is your board, but must be enormous. And my main question is, could we work on a common board with your one and the one of the Annex C?
Yes, I think, well, the objective is slightly different. This was really meant to be a baseline, say, from which we can start discussions about borderline cases. And we can sharpen the definitions. It is laid out really in the format of the Gemmological Laboratory book. You can certainly say, okay, you can work on integrating those, that annex and this chapter. On the other hand, previously we had many complaints about that there was so much information in that annex. And so maybe you have to think very carefully what you really want to do. So that was really the next point I wanted to put forward. So maybe I would actually propose that we incorporate this in the Gem Laboratory book, because it has the same format already, it has the right format. And then maybe we can work from there and see what we can do. So whether we can incorporate information in the annex, or whether we can create a separate document which is easier to read for the people who are going to use it, finally. So that is maybe then the next plan. But we did all this work, we really completed the first version, and I think it's important that we can put it out anyway. So that is why I would propose take a two-step approach here. So first incorporate this in the Gemmological Laboratory book, and then later on we can decide what we do with this information. Any questions or additions? No? Okay, then I take it that we can present it like this to Sector A, and then Sector A and the board can decide on it. Wesley, yes? Can somebody give the microphone to Wesley over there? Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Wesley Hunt from the Laboratory Grown Diamond Committee. Just a question you mentioned about specification around diamond. You mentioned that a laboratory grown couldn't be deemed to be a diamond. It is actually a diamond, but I do agree it shouldn't be a gemstone because it's not a natural product. So I just think that nuance needs to be understood. I don't know how you would phrase that in the guidelines that you've got in front of us, but you did mention a lab-grown diamond isn't a diamond, but actually the constituents are a diamond.
From a compositional point of view, you might be right. But from a definition point of view, if you consider the definition of the International Mineralogical Association, then a synthetic diamond cannot be called a diamond.
For sure, so it's the terminology elements, but you can't use it without preempted elements before it. So you'd have to say laboratory grown diamond, but in essence, the constituted elements are still a diamond. I just wanted to make that clear. You can't say it's not a diamond, but if you are going to refer to it, you need to have a prefix, ultimately.
Well, I'm just mentioning the scientific definition.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, I think that the point you wanted to make is that if we only talk about diamonds, that we really refer to the mineral. And so if we talk about synthetic diamond, then we should use one of those three synonyms, right? So that's all, yeah. Okay, so then, let's see, then we looked at this. Do we have any other business? Yes.
Yeah, hello. I'm Linda Klein from Sweden.
Yes.
I think it's for people who is not geologists or mineralogists, it is difficult to understand what a group, a variety and species is, who belong to what and why. So I wonder if it's possible for you to just have a little explanation of that.
Yes.
Either now or later, just in a text or something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, this is all addressed at the beginning of the document. So I'll try to, yeah. So we really explain what a mineral is, and but that's not the most important part, probably. Oh. No. Yes, and then I need to go to the next page. Yeah. So here it is. So gemstone variety. That's a material that fulfills the definition of a gemstone, and a gemstone variety is defined by one or more of the following features. And then we give the features. And to be accepted as a new gemstone variety, a particular name can be identified according to the features mentioned above. It should have gained global acceptance. So, for instance, names like aquamarine and emerald are around for such a long time that you can say, okay, that gained global acceptance, so we can accept that as a variety name. And it should have been included as a trade name in the CIBJO gemstone book and being recommended as a new gemstone variety. So we give a few properties it should have. So you can introduce trade names every day, but it doesn't mean that it will be globally accepted. It doesn't mean that it is clear what is meant exactly. So all these things need to be fulfilled. So it could be that trade names today could turn into variety names after some time, if everybody is using it and knows what it means, actually. So, yeah, we really explained everything at the beginning of the document. Yeah? Yes? Okay. All right. Any other business? Doug? Yes.
But your discussion of how a new varietal name could be introduced is very broad and ill-defined. I'm not sure what global acceptance would be. I think that's subject to interpretation. But my other question would be, how do you see this as let's say that there's a new aquapraise, okay? That's submitted to the committee. They take a look at it, they identify the characteristics and say it's globally accepted. Is the committee making the decision that this is now accepted by CIBJO, or would that be presented to a larger body to say, we accept this new varietal name? How do you see that happening?
Yeah, we have to think about that. Aquapraise is interesting as an example because it's a trademark or registered as a trademark. So that means that, we didn't incorporate that name for that reason, because of perhaps legal restrictions and so on. So, yeah. But we certainly have to look into this, how we can, properly install new variety names. Yeah, certainly. Okay. Then if there is no other business, then I think we can adjourn, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gemmological Commission, for being here. Thanks to the President for marking wonderful words and giving this huge discussion to